You cannot put your screen here.
I can.
One immediate take a photo of the screen. But why I am coming here?
That's okay.
Good afternoon, one and all. I am audible. Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, one and all. Present here for the international webinar on Yoga for Wellbeing on the occasion of 8th International Day of Yoga celebrations, organized by RAGAVENDRA YOGIC Center, Chennai, Faculty of Yoga Sciences and Therapy, MEENAKSHI Academy of Higher Education and Research, Chennai, and Indian Yoga Association, New Delhi. I'd like to invite the prayer team for open prayer.
All sleep erect. Close your eyes. Starts with Om chanting. योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचा मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोतं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि महाबाहुपुरुषाकारं शङ्खचक्रासिधारिणं सहस्रशिरसं श्वेतं प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिं श्रीमते अनन्ताय नागराजाय नमो नमः। गुरुभ्यो नमः।
I invite Pallavi for welcome address. She is a PhD scholar from Mahé. She is a prenatal yoga teacher at Shivadarshan Yoga Vidyalaya, a unit of BR School of Yoga, pursuing YTTP at Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandira, Chennai. Welcome, Pallavi.
Thank you, Sumita. Good afternoon to one and all present here. Thank you to everyone who have joined this afternoon. I am extremely delighted to address for this afternoon with you all. Before we carry on with the event, I would give my regards and appreciation to all the people who made this occasion a grand successful. This could not have been possible without the sheer contribution of you all. Every year, the main event of International Day of Yoga is observed as the mass yoga demonstration, which is led by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Ministry of Ayush had chalked out a 100 days countdown program for the 8th International Day of Yoga, wherein 100 organizations are promoting yoga in 100 places and cities. It is worth mentioning that 50 days countdown is an important event in observation of International Day of Yoga every year. The ministry hopes to inspire a mass movement for health and well-being through yoga in the countdown of International Day of Yoga 2022. On that note, I welcome our outstanding Dr. R. Ilangon, Professor and Head at FYSD, Faculty of Yoga Sciences and MEENAKSHI Academy of Higher Education and Research. And today is our chief guest of this darling afternoon, Dr. YOGIC, who is renowned guru in Hong Kong and has made the country round with his work. Thank you very much. Well, I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Pallavi. I invite Professor and Head Dr. R. Ilangovan sir from Faculty of Yoga Sciences and Therapy, Mahe, for introductory speech. He has more than 38 years of teaching experience in schools, colleges, and universities in yoga and physical education. And he is the first professor appointed officially in the history of Tamil Nadu government universities, as well as history of deemed universities of Tamil Nadu, Mahe, Chennai. He has organized more than 50 international national conference and seminars. I welcome you, sir.
Hari Om, good afternoon to one and all. It gives me immense pleasure to be with you at this August gathering. So I express our sincere thanks to Sumita for having organized this fantastic occasion, memorable occasion. So once again, on behalf of all, I express our thanks and hearty International Day of Yoga 2022. As you know very well, Sumita is a woman of pleasing address, an international athlete, yoga athlete, and a great yogini. She is the pride of India, and we feel proud of her achievements. Recently also, she was placed first in the Pondicherry yoga competitions, international competitions. She stood first. So in that extreme occasion, we feel proud of her. She is not only a great athlete in yoga, a great yogini, an all-rounder. She is good extraordinarily, not only in yogic practices, but in theoretical aspects also. Whatever she took a work, she needs and she completes with perfection. So she is a perfect yogini. We feel proud of her. At this occasion, I express our sincere thanks to that Sumita is related to RAGAVENDRA Yogic Center, Chennai. So on behalf of you all, we extend our thanks and we invite our great chief guest, Yoganand Andiyappan, Anahata Yoga, Hong Kong. You no need introduction on him because no introduction is needed for sun or moon. Such a legendary figure our Yoganand is. He is a modern Iyengar, what we can tell. A great, he got doctorate. Sincerely, he had done on cancer, and almost throughout India and the world, they appreciated his fantastic dissertation. So we feel proud of him at this juncture. And also, I already told, he is a modern Iyengar. And his father is a legendary figure. And he revolutionized, his father revolutionized yoga in India. So such a great legendary figure both. So our Yoganand is not only a source of intellectual stimulus, but also inexhaustible source of knowledge and wisdom. A yogi of great principles. His contributions throughout the world is unparalleled and unmatched. So at this juncture, we feel elated that he is with us. We are extremely fortunate that he is with us and he is an inspiration for many. He is the soul of hope for many in the world. So at this juncture, we express our thanks to Yoganand, also Dr. Yoganand. On behalf of you, we welcome you all for this occasion because the topic is wellness. Wellness is the constant and deliberate effort to stay healthy and also to achieve highest potential for total well-being. Wellness includes everything: physical activity, nutrition, stress management, emotional control, and also health education, substance abuse control. So everything is included. There is a difference between health, fitness, and wellness. Someone may have health, but may not be having fitness, may not be having wellness. But here, wellness includes everything. Wellness leads to total well-being: physical, mental, moral, social, emotional, spiritual, cultural, like that. So when you do yogic practices, it doesn't know how to cheat. You will develop all-round qualities for total well-being. So such a fantastic treasure that we contributed to the whole world with yoga. So in this occasion, we are elated to have, and we are also waiting anxiously for the lecture to be given by Dr. Yoganand. Once again, on behalf of our Megar and Raghavendra Yogic Center, we welcome you all, and let us promote yoga so that the promotion of the whole world will be in elaborate stage. Once again, thank you, Ananda. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I welcome today's guest lecturer, Dr. Yoganand Nandiyappan, sir. A small introduction about him. He is a son of India's famous yoga guru, Dr. Nandiyappan. He started learning yoga at the early age of 2, well qualified in the field of yoga, and completed 2 diplomas. He also completed his PhD dissertation on the effects of yoga therapy and natural yogic diet on cancer patients in Sports University. He has trained thousands of yoga teachers in India and other countries. He is the director and founder of Anahata Yoga Studio, Hong Kong, honorary professor in Zhengzhou Normal University, China, and he is a director, founder, and yoga consultant in International Yoga Academy, Hong Kong, secretary in Asana Nandiyappan College of Yoga and Research Center, Chennai. He have participated and presented many yoga therapy workshops in many countries. He have also done many yoga research projects. He also have published many books, DVDs, wall posters. He have invented yoga props, and he is a professional Mridangam player and received Nandi Nayagan Award by Swami Kripanandan Varya. And over to you, sir. Welcome, sir.
I hope my voice is audible to everyone. Ms. Sumita, can you please confirm my voice is audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to say Vanakkam in Tamil, in my mother tongue, to everyone. So today, it's a pleasure being here, and thank you for this opportunity, Ms. Sumita, Dr. Elangovan sir, for giving me this great opportunity. The world has become so small through this online medium of learning. And today with me, I have Dr. Vishnu, who is also a yoga master from our father's school. He is also a graduate of the Tamil Nadu Physical Education and Sports University, as he is also my colleague in Anahata Yoga School in Hong Kong. We also have Ms. Shilpa. Later, she would be demonstrating some of the yoga poses or yogic practices that I would like to explain in this lecture. Firstly, I would like to sincerely thank you, Dr. Elangovan, for being such an inspiration, giving opportunity to a lot of youngsters like me. Whenever I needed help, whenever I needed some assistance in terms of my yoga, education and career, he was always available there, guiding me, giving me the right direction for all the things that I needed during my PhD study and master degree studies. So thank you, Ms. Sumita. She has been very very much encouraging me to participate in this conference and give one lecture. And she understands the time difference of Hong Kong and India, and she has been following up with me tightly and making sure that this event is a possibility today. And firstly, I would like to thank you all for taking your time and coming to this event, online event of the International Yoga Day Countdown. And I'm happy and honored to be part of this event. So in today's topic, yoga for wellness, yoga for well-being is something close to my heart. My father, Dr. Asana Andiappan, has always said, your health is wealth and yoga for health. His very first book he written in Tamil is called Arogya Valvu, which means healthy life through yoga. While many traditions does focus on yoga and spiritual aspects, my father, Dr. Asana Andiappan, took up a lifetime vision of bringing yoga as a therapeutic practice application for various ailments and conditions in our body and mind. He researched, explored the Tamil text Thirumandiram, and he actually translated that book or interpreted that book for a common man's understanding, explaining the benefits of yoga, how yoga is beneficial for one's body and mind, and how much therapeutic benefits yoga can offer. No matter people are from various religion can practice yoga and enjoy these therapeutic benefits. One of the Thirumandiram, he always likes to quote during his public lectures, just for people to understand how much Tirumular has emphasized on the benefits of yoga that can help one heal known and unknown ailments in our body. I would like to remind that Thirumandiram phrase. Anjanam Pondrudal Ayurum Andiyil, Vanjaga Vadamarum Madhyanatil, Senjire Kalayil Saidiru Pittarum, Nanjara Chonnom Naraiturai Nasame. I'm very happy that I'm able to say this in Tamil without any mistakes, because I've been living in Hong Kong for the past 20 years. So Tamil has been a kind of a remote language for me, which I don't get to talk to people on a daily basis. But the Thirumandiram is like an essence text of yoga. Everyone should study the 9th chapter of Ashtanga Yoga, where it talks about plenty of benefits. When you say yoga as a wellness or yoga for total well-being, Thirumandiram gives you answers to all your questions for the physical and mental ailments. To put it simply, to explain that phrase, let me just give you a short brief of that phrase. If you practice yoga in the morning, diseases related to Pitta can be balanced. Pitta refers to digestive organs, digestive juices, digestive enzymes. So if you take care of your digestive health, your gut health, you can enjoy a disease-free life. As Dr. Ilangovan said, one can be healthy, one can maintain a really good fitness, but wellness is something very holistic. You have to apply that as part of your lifestyle. It is not something you do it for an hour or 2 hours every day. So a Thirumandiram's approach to yoga is a way of life. So if you do yoga in the morning, you can prevent, balance the diseases of Pitta. If you do yoga in the afternoon, you can balance the diseases of Vata, which includes musculoskeletal conditions in our body, people with arthritis, people with muscular dystrophy, people with osteoporosis. An afternoon, mid-noon time yoga is recommended. Then evening is for Kapha, Sulatama. So people with respiratory disorders, asthma, sinusitis, bronchitis, allergy, eosinophilia, they should practice yoga after late evening time. So in this one phrase, Thirumandiram explains how one can live a disease-free life to balance the 3 doshas in our body. And my father, Guruji Andiappan, took this message and he practiced it, researched on many conditions, and then he even did yoga for research for AIDS, yoga for Parkinson's disease, yoga for heart disease, yoga for asthma, diabetes, blood pressure. Amazing results have been found by practicing yoga on certain time of the day. Now, in today's world, everyone lives a very electronic lifestyle. Electronic tools are part of our daily life. A lot of people cannot carry on with their life without bringing any electronic apparatus into their daily routine. From the time you wake up till the time you close your eyes to sleep, we are always constantly bombarded by these various electronic tools surrounding us. But one fails to notice that your body itself is a very amazing tool. It is the most intelligent machine that has various organs, systems, and various movements, energy movements in our body. And we fail to notice that how our body needs to be taken care. And yoga practices are one of the best or cost-effective way to take care of your body. Natural way of living, natural lifestyle is highly recommended in our yogic discipline. So one, when is exposing themselves to all the 5 elements of the earth, can live a disease-free lifestyle or manage the disease or complications in our body well, while compared to addressing other forms of treatments. So I have been doing yoga from the age of 2, and I can be a witness saying that when you start yoga from a young age, you can have a disease-free childhood. I never went to doctor, have to take any injection or medication when I was, in my young teenage years. That shows regular practice of yoga can improve one's physical and mental health right from the young age. And even my sister, who is Dr. Andiappan, Lakshmi Andiappan, who is now residing in Chennai, has also started yoga from a very young age. So one of my father's goal is to bring yoga as a tailor-made practice for people of all age groups. So he wanted to show people that even a young 2-year-old child can do practices of yoga when it is adapted to that age group, according to the physical and mental state of that child. And to the very extent, till his last day, 92 years old, my father was practicing yoga, and he was very active, mobile, agile. So yoga can be always tailor-made for any age group or any body types. So in the modern world, there is a new term which is called yoga therapy. But yoga in itself is therapeutic, it's very healing, it's very balancing for our body and mind. So you don't have to specially invent a term called yoga therapy, but just for the sake of marketing and making a brand out of it, people would name various styles in yoga today. Now, I would like to make today's lecture more relevant to people like me who are seeking this yogic path, who would like to bring yoga as a career path, who would like to live a successful life through yoga and teaching, practicing, sharing the benefits of yoga to people who are open to its practice. So what I meant to say is I want to make today's lecture to be more relevant to people who are seeking yoga as a lifestyle, rather than yoga as a fitness practice, rather than yoga as a practice 1 hour a day. So one should understand that yoga in itself is a discipline. Yoga in itself is a holistic discipline. As Dr. Ilangovan said, you have to be physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and even to some extent, environmentally adapting your lifestyle to live in this discipline. So yoga cannot be prescribed as a medicine. Okay, do Shirsasana once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and expect some miracle to happen. When yoga is applied as a lifestyle, that is when real healing takes place. That is when your body can fight the modern day's disease, we can call it. Yoga, Siddhas have already coded the number of diseases. 4,448 diseases exist in our body. All these diseases are classified under 3 doshas, and they have already explained how yoga can be practiced as per the dosha and how the outcome would be. Now, people are always looking for hard evidence, scientific evidence. Okay, what is the latest research methods available to back this claim, right? So I myself run a full-time yoga studio in Hong Kong. When I say full-time yoga studio, it is very different to the traditional learning methods. In Hong Kong, in our school called Anahata Yoga, the very first class starts 7 a.m. in the morning. The last class ends at 9:30, 10 p.m. at night. While the traditional practices of yoga is always recommended to do yoga early in the morning during Brahma Muhurta, before the sunrise or before the sunset. But when life has become so fast-paced, people don't have that privilege of waking up early in the morning or going early to bed. which is a big, difficult challenge for most people's lives. So yogic practices are tailor-made for their lifestyle. But does that mean they are getting less benefits in yoga? Does that mean any benefits are different? So this is where I would like to give you some clarity. When yoga is too remote to the person's lifestyle, it becomes impractical. It becomes not the mode of healing for their lifestyle. So they are looking for a quick fix, which means going to a doctor, popping a pill, and trying to address the symptoms of the disease and move on. Whereas yoga takes a lifestyle adaptation, lifestyle change, and that is where people are finding it challenging. All natural healing process takes time. So yoga, when it is taught as part of their lifestyle, part of their routine, what they like to do, that is when it brings a practical approach to people's life. So here we have classes from morning, afternoon, evening, late evening. We also have group classes. We also have one-on-one sessions like private classes. We also run once in a while yoga workshops that brings more awareness about the healing benefits of yoga. Dr. Vishnu Kumar here, who is seated with me, is an expert in Ayurveda. He also conveys the principles of Ayurveda, how it can be incorporated with yoga, some diet recommendations for the students who like to heal known and unknown ailments in the body. We actually have this holistic approach of teaching methods in our school in Hong Kong. It is possible. Now, currently, we are collaborating with various hospitals in Hong Kong and bringing yoga as a tailor-made practice to the patients of hospitals in Hong Kong. For example, we are now teaching yoga classes for pain patients of a hospital in Hong Kong on Queen Elizabeth Hospitals. So these are patients waiting to get surgeries, and they are given the opportunity to come and do a yoga therapy session in our studio, in our school. So I have recommended them to come during the midday. As I told you, any musculoskeletal conditions can be more effective if you practice yoga during the midday. So they would be here around 2 o'clock or 1:30, and they would start doing their practice. And this project has been ongoing for the past 5 years. Amazing results have been found during these classes. A lot of patients who are very regular with our yoga therapy classes have been recommended not to do the surgery, which they have been waiting for months, and say, continue to practice yoga because we believe your yoga practice will give you better outcome than the surgery. So the doctor themselves have recommended the patients to continue practicing yoga, and many of them have practiced yoga or still practicing even during the lockdowns. Now, when you say lockdown, you understand what lockdown means. People are not allowed to go out. They are not supposed to travel to yoga studios to come and practice. So they took up the online learning mode and they continue to practice, and many of them have been healed from some of the pains, aches, numbness of their neck, hip, shoulders, back, and knee pain. So, which is a tailor-made yoga therapy programs for patients of above 50 years of age, right? So what I meant to say is, when yoga is tailor-made, when yoga is applied as a practice as per the individual's body and mind, it can give you amazing results. So in here, I would like to highlight another group of patients we are also teaching is, if you don't mind, if I'm given access to share my screen, I can actually give you some glimpse of where to find more information about the projects we are running. So I can give you more information about sharing my, yeah, please, thank you. Okay. I will just keep my theory lecture for another 10 minutes. Then I would like to move on with some practice and give you some examples of what kind of practices I recommend. I cannot show my screen. I would like to put this website on the chat because I'm not allowed to share my screen. So if you visit this website, you want to come in the class? Thank you. It's okay, Shilpa, please take a seat. It's okay, take a seat. Yeah, please take a seat. So here we have yogacommunity.org, where in that website, you can see we are running various projects in Hong Kong, collaborated with many hospitals, rehab centers. And as mentioned, we teach yoga as a tailor-made program for a group of patients with similar conditions, with similar symptoms. And of course, yoga is best when it is taught one-on-one, but it is even better if it is adapted as part of their lifestyle. So it's not like a one hour a week or 1 hour a day practice, but we do our best to bring yoga as part of their lifestyle. We do give Ayurvedic diet recommendation, natural therapy treatments. We also give them some information about yogic practices, which we don't commonly get to practice in a yoga studio setup, like Kriyas, right? Usually people don't enjoy the practice of Kriyas, but Kriyas are amazing healing tools in yoga we have. So these are recommended to the patients and they see amazing benefits. And another group of patients I would like to highlight is the stroke patients. So this hospital have group of people who have been having stroke conditions before, and they have been going through some of the physiotherapy treatments, but parallelly they have also been recommended to yoga therapy, and we do teach yoga for stroke therapy patients, and amazing results have been found. And now the doctors are expanding the program to other hospitals in the city. So now we are taking up breast cancer patients. We are taking up patients with addictions, like for example, drug abuse, young female community members who are addicted to drugs, and how yoga can help. So my friends, I would like to tell you, although we are exposed to the Western styles of yoga, power yoga, and many different styles, we don't even understand the meaning or the process of it. Please don't get carried away by all these cool names given to yoga. Yoga is yoga. There's no need to give additional names to yoga. As I said, yoga need not need to be even called as therapy. Yoga in itself is healing. Any practices of yoga is healing. Pranayama is therapeutic. Asana is therapeutic. Mudras are therapeutic. It is our skill and knowledge of anatomy. It is our knowledge of understanding the disease, ailments, symptoms, and the diagnostic methods that are available today. How people get diagnosed for what type of disease is an important knowledge yoga students or yoga college courses should be covering. I'm not against any chanting of mantras or reading any particular yoga literature text, but I particularly would like to request the students to be pay more attention on the modern way of treatment of diseases, and how the Western medicine is interpreting some of the diseases in today's time, what type of diagnostic methods they have. This is something to a basic element. It is available in our website. There are many reliable resources available in the website. You can read a lot of research articles and then develop your knowledge on yoga therapy research articles, and then try and apply them with the able guidance, right? So in today's lecture, I would like to cover some of the methods of asana practice when it is done anatomically right or anatomically logical. You can get better results. When we say yoga, the word yoga is a big ocean, and most of the people think yoga means practice of asanas. Yoga means you have to do some postures. Yoga means immediately you have to put your yoga mat down and you have to step on the mat and do some bodily movements. It is part of the practice, but don't limit your knowledge, don't limit your practice exposure to just only on asanas, because we are missing out on yoga as a holistic practice. Think of yoga, how it can be applied with other medicines, that when people are going through some treatments or other rehabilitation methods, how yoga can be parallelly applied to their lifestyle or treatment methods is what we need to think about. And certainly our today's yoga education courses need to be updated, or some courses have already been updated with the information of latest research findings in yoga. The yoga courses we run in Hong Kong in our school, we do cover research topics as one of the studies in our yoga therapy courses. Students need to write assignments exploring research topic. Even though they might be studying the most basic yoga courses, it is important for them to do some research studies and find out how yoga can help heal many ailments from the research studies quote. So in today's practice, I'm going to give you some examples how we practice yoga traditionally and how it can be adapted and modified according to the individual, right? Usually when you are referring to a newcomer coming to yoga practice, we are normally going up with the random sequence of asanas. We normally say do Surya Namaskaram, or do Anulom Vilom Pranayama, do Nadi Shuddhi, or do Kapalabhati, or do Bas. So we go up with the random sequence of postures or breathing. But if it can be understood from a more anatomical point of view, what they need, when they need, and how much they need, and how to analyze the outcome of the practice is what you need to also keep in mind when you bring yoga as a form of therapy to them. So I would like to highlight these 3 points when you teach yoga to someone, right? The first one is preparation. Preparation means a student is coming to you. You need to physically, mentally prepare them for this kind of practice. A lot of people think yoga means chanting Om, yoga means lying in Shavasana, yoga means sit down, close the eyes, yoga means doing postures. Many people have various understanding about yoga. Many people don't even have exposure to certain practices in yoga. In Hong Kong, we have yoga teachers. They are very successful, well-known teachers, but they are skillful in yoga called aerial yoga, which is now a new and upcoming style in India. All of the big cities have now aerial yoga. When people look at that, you see a nice colorful sari hanging from the ceiling and people are striking cool poses with the sari. And they will definitely claim the benefits of doing that, saying that it will stretch your joints, it will help you to strengthen your arms as you pull up to postures. And there are certain benefits in there, but having said that, what I'm trying to say is certain students of yoga, when they practice, they are exposed to only one type of yoga. They don't understand how yoga came up and how these new styles are created, why it is created, who it should be applied, what is the moderation to that application. Many people have less knowledge in that part. And even now, I request you not to expose yourself to the individual styles of yoga, which means don't go and study power yoga, don't go and study aerial yoga, don't go and study anything that you come across, anything like new. Why these new styles became popular is because when yoga was so physically practiced intensively on asana basis, people wanted to achieve certain postures within a certain duration or within a certain practice methods. So people started inventing certain props and tools to achieve that flexibility or to achieve that physical state. So for example, there is a style called chair yoga, right? Then there is a style called wheel yoga, where you may have seen this plastic wheel that people use for yoga practice. Aerial yoga. Then there is stick yoga, right? Then there is ladder yoga. Now, some of you may not even heard of these ones, but these are some of the most popular styles that exist in today's time, right? So in Hong Kong, we have aerial yoga, and you have teachers who's learned aerial yoga. They are only teaching aerial yoga. Aerial means the satin cloth yoga that comes from the ceiling where you hang and you do postures upside down. And then you also have students learning from them aerial yoga and thinking that is yoga. Naturally, let's assume a common man looking for a yoga class, and they happen to find a studio next to their office or house, and they walk in there, and that aerial yoga is taught to them in the name of yoga. For a no-wise person, they don't know what other styles of yoga out there or how yoga should be practiced from the basic tools available to us. So a lot of students are now getting exposure to this modern style with one prop practice type and really thinking that that's the approach of yoga. Not only students or anyone, even people, even doctors now thinks they don't go deeper study about yoga. They even think yoga means you have to hang on the ceiling upside down. Yoga means you have to do it in a hot room because it's called hot yoga. Yoga means you have to have a lot of equipments, things around you to support your practice. Whereas you don't need any of these equipments. If you have a healthy body, a body that can move and mobilize with your own guidance, you don't need any of these props, right? The props are meant for people who can't do certain things, and this is an added support to their practice, not something taken it as in one style and practicing it as an exclusive practice. So to go back to my 3 points, I said preparation. A preparation means when a student comes to you and you are introducing yoga to them, you have a moral, professional responsibility to introduce what actually yoga is. Don't limit their understanding. Yoga means postures. Yoga means breathing. Yoga means meditation. Yoga means, you don't want to limit their understanding what yoga is. You want to bring yoga means a discipline. Various practices exist in yoga. The practices are adapted to their physical and mental state on a daily basis according to their limits and goals, right? Which means yoga is tailor-made for their body and mind as per the time they are practicing yoga, right? With the conditions or disease they may be having. But they should be reminded of what other practices are out there, and when they will be ready, or when they are ready, we will be teaching or sharing these practices with them. Because as a teacher, we have a big impact on a first-time student who are coming to yoga and getting introduced to this path. So because in the olden times, the teacher is the only resource of knowledge. We never had WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So the teacher is the only source of knowledge where everybody went to the teacher, traveled a great distance and studied yoga. But in today's time, I am available to you from Hong Kong. So anyone is available anywhere. So students have so much resources or sources to learn, whereas they tend to put more attention on something that is maybe followed by more students, liked by more students, or YouTube followers or Facebook friends or whatever. They may judge in their own mindset, thinking that that is the best yoga because everybody is doing that and that's what I should be doing, right? When yoga is supposed to be a individual tailor-made practice. So the next point is moderation, right? Yoga is good, but even good things needs moderation. You cannot go on do yoga 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day. So everything needs to be moderated. You have a physical body, and this body is only able to do certain things for certain time with certain intensity. So we need to also teach the students how to moderate the practice, right? You may have heard of these things. I meditated today for 5 hours. I did pranayama for 3 hours. I did my asana for 4 hours. Now, in the olden days, people had so much time, so 3 or 4 hours may be a moderated practice, right? Whereas in today's time, 8 hours a day, it's still a very, people are packing their life schedule on these 8 hours. So how to moderate our yoga practice as an asana practice, as a practice that we do interacting with ourselves, with our body and mind, how much time you should spend is something the teacher should also guide. So people are not overdoing it, right? You may see, sometimes we say, oh, Shirsasana is good for you, please practice. And people go end up practicing Shirsasana for half an hour or 15 minutes or whatever the time duration they think I should do more, and end up hurting themselves in that process. In today's time, if you have any student practicing yoga without injuries, you're a very successful yoga student. Because people of certain age, when they attempt to do certain postures, they have to be very careful, anatomically introduced to this pose and not suddenly push themselves into this posture. The third one, let me remind you the first and second one. The first one is the preparation. A preparation means giving the basic knowledge and understanding to the practitioner, what they need to know at what time and how much dose of knowledge is right for that student, right? Just because you know all the sutras in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, you don't want to sit and vomit out to all those to the students. So everything comes with slow and moderate dose of knowledge transferred to the students. The third one, observation, right? We have prepared very well. We think we used our best judgments to moderate our practices, but then we failed to notice the outcome. what was the outcome, whether the outcome was positive. The outcome was not the way that we wanted to be. How to change the approach, how to modify the preparation again. What level of modification will give better outcome. This is something we also have to guide the students or practitioner like us should also be aware of, how to do the preparation, how to approach with moderation, and how to explore the outcome of the practice. You definitely need a guidance of experienced, knowledgeable yoga masters who have done this successfully, who have been doing this successfully. So not everything is available on the internet. Not everything can be self-learned. So yes, certain things can be self-learned if you put enough time and practice and research, but certain things, it's better with experience, right? When someone is experienced, knowledgeable, have traveled a path and share that knowledge to you, you take it and then you go back and further refine that knowledge you received from the teacher. So this is the 3 points I would like to cover today: preparation, moderation, observation. For any type of practice, not only to yoga, every lifestyle plans that you are making, everything should be done carefully. If you're buying a house, if you are thinking about investing money on something, if you are thinking about doing an event, preparation, moderation, and observation, right? Well, how to do better next time? What was the outcome of that arrangement? So everything has to go hand in hand. Okay. So another thing I would like to do today is usually in India, I mean, yoga competitions are very popular. As you know, every week, every day, there is always some kind of yoga events happening, and yoga competitions are the most common events I have done in my young age. And Master Anadura is here, and many others are here who has been with me through my life journey and participating in the yoga competitions. And as you know, the competitions are meant to encourage, motivate the young bodies and minds to practice yoga, apply yoga to the life. It's not about winning a trophy or achieving a medal, right? But having said that, when I used to practice yoga competitions, only the age of below 20 or up to 25 years old, you have hundreds of participants. About 30, 35, 40, 45, you only get few numbers, because the interest of doing advanced postures for a common man point of view is very low, right? People are not very much interested to learn advanced poses. When the person hits the age of 30 or 40, they are generally happy with practicing the regularly practiced basic postures. They are not very much interested on learning advanced postures. But in yoga, there are 8.4 million asanas, or Thirumular says, Ennila asana. Asanas are countless, right? Numberless. You can invent your own asanas, right? So what does it mean? Why there are 8.4 million postures, right? And my father is very well known for his asana practice at that age, and how yoga can be practiced even at any age, provided you do it with consistency, moderation, and practice starting from young will definitely help you. So how to modify the poses, especially when we have crossed the age of 40. How do you modify the poses? How do you learn these postures, right? The word easy, advanced, it's all relevant to the person. For example, someone obese anatomy, sitting on the floor itself is an advanced pose, right? Someone who is very flexible, a balancing pose will be an advanced pose, because the joints are too flexible, mobile. They may not be able to do a Shirsasana, right? So the word advanced, there are no poses advanced, no poses simple. Only it becomes advanced when it is applied to your body, your state, or current state of the body, right? So let me explain what is current state of the body, which means I am now sitting in the chair in my yoga studio, and my lifestyle is very mobile, agile, and I can quickly get into any pose because I have been moving my body by teaching classes, showing poses to my students. So my body is in a state where I can get into any pose whenever I want to, given a few minutes of warm-up. But let's say I have just been not doing this and my lifestyle has changed. I've been traveling, I'm not in this regular routine lifestyle. Suddenly getting into a pose is what leads to an injury. And most people get injuries in yoga because they lack understanding of anatomy, and they lack understanding of how to prepare your body as per the day, as per the weather, as per the experience your body is feeling now. Just because you did a chakrasana deep back bend yesterday doesn't mean the same chakrasana should come today. And the mindset for some people may be, oh, I did yesterday, I should be doing more today, or I should be doing better today. That's okay. Having a positive approach of better every day is good, but you really need to go back to your body and scan the body and see how it is feeling today and how to prepare it. And this is what I'm saying, preparation. And moderate the practice. Just because it didn't come today doesn't mean it's not going to come tomorrow. Today, the weather is rainy, it's very humid. The moisture in the air becomes a thing for your body. It feels heavy, damp. So you may not be able to perform the same pose in the same way as we did the time before. So you have to have a very spontaneous understanding to this practice, not get fixated with the goal of achieving the full pose. And no matter you are teaching yoga therapy or asana as a practice of fitness, you have to have this mindset. Yoga is always tailor-made each time when you get to the pose, right? When I say yoga, I'm referring to asana practice, and yoga in itself is a lifestyle. But when it comes to yoga, asana practice, the anatomical knowledge is very foundation today, because in the countries like US, Canada, you have to have insurance to teach yoga. If you don't have insurance, you can't teach yoga, because people are getting hurt. People are being taught poses that are not suitable for their anatomy. People are getting sued for teaching yoga practice and people getting hurt. So you have to understand, we are moving to a world where we will face some challenges when things are more regulated. So in US and Canada, yoga has been strictly regulated, and without a license, which means a license to teach, insurance, you cannot teach yoga there. You cannot teach anyone yoga. If anyone gets hurt, we are legally responsible for that. So when it comes to Hong Kong, it is still not that strict, but I myself want to bring better standards to the industry of yoga in Hong Kong. Yoga should not be just taken as a physical indulgence. It should be healing, it should be therapeutic, it should be really helping the common man who can't afford yoga classes. So my goal is to bring my father's vision, bringing yoga to the common man. Common man's goal of yoga is to lead a healthy life and to take care of their physical and mental health through simple practices of yoga. And that is what I hope to do. I have achieved the Indian national championship, international championships, but none of those inspires me most than teaching yoga to a common man, right? I feel that's where my life goal is. That's what I would like to do. And in teaching, always remember, you have to simplify your knowledge, simplify your understanding to things, because for a common man, only simple language is possible to understand. Do not add difficult terms in yoga practice for a common man to get confused, because you are making yoga not reachable to more people. We don't have to say any words in Sanskrit if that person is not knowledgeable in Sanskrit. It's no point. You're just saying it just because we know that term. You have to really interpret that term for them. You really have to simplify that language to that person. Then it becomes successful in transfer of knowledge. Otherwise, they are going to only listen to half of the information. Half of the information would be a foreign language to them. So just to give you a few examples, right? In today's time, when people are practicing yoga, they need to come up with a flow of logical steps, right? Flow of logical arrangement of anatomical movements that can help you to improve your practice, asana practice, at any age, right? So here, Ms. Shilpa is with me today. I have asked her to kindly help me to demonstrate as I'm explaining the asana today. And please keep this for your reference, right? What I felt is this type of knowledge seems to have worked for me. This is the knowledge. This is not the knowledge I received as it is from my teacher, but when I traveled to different countries, exposed to different culture, there was a need to rearrange certain information, right? The way we teach yoga, the way we bring interest to yoga in people's life has to be slightly modified as per their lifestyle, as per their beliefs and faith. So we don't normally start with the mantra chanting or om chanting because it just confuses them even more. It feels like I'm forcing something to their lives without them being open up to this practice. So I usually only give what they understand first, right? And once they understand some basic practices, then I add some information and give some more clarity. And I do provide them all of the traditional practices we do in yoga. But always remember, don't confuse people with more difficult information. Try and simplify them. Try and keep your language very simple and explain to them in a way that person understands how yoga helps them, right? So if you don't mind, I mean, I have been told that, there is a 1 hour duration. I'm going to take some more time to just give you my approach to asana practice. As Dr. Ilangovan gave me a title of I'm a modern Iyengar, I believe I would like to give you a couple of more. I would never reach that state, I believe, because Iyengar has really dedicated his lifetime on bringing yoga to the masses. But I hope I will try and keep my passion and interest in sharing my knowledge to yoga. So basically, we have Master Shilpa here. Now, she has been studying and practicing yoga. Ms. Smita, you want to say something or you're okay? I can continue.
So please continue, sir.
Okay. Please, take a seat. Okay, someone is asking me some questions. Just give me some time. Let me finish with this and then I will come and quickly answer your question. Okay. So usually, let's say, let me give you my approach of asana practice. So just to give you an outline, if you would like to do it with us, you're most welcome to do it with us. But if you would like to just sit and observe, but these are practices you need to do and feel it. It is not something you see and you understand, because it is something of new method, right? So usually when we say any fitness routine, anything that done as a sport or physical activity, what you need to do first. And someone put in the chat, let's say you're doing a physical activity. What do you think you need to do first? Could you please put in the chat? Good. Warm up, relax. Okay, warm up. Okay, that's good. Warm up. Answer is warm up, right? What do you choose in yoga to warm up? How do you warm up your body? Dynamic, okay, good. Sukshma Vyayama, very good. Surya Namaskar, very good. Any other methods? Stretching. Okay, Stuvyam, neck rotation, very good. Thank you. Thank you for answering. So basically, a warm-up is nothing but arrangement of low intensity posture, which prepare you for a high next intensity movement. If you understand my word, my sentence, low intensity means mobility of less intense movements to the mobility of, below what you're trying, right? Obviously, if you want to run, you would start with walking first, right? Or if you want to bend forward, touch the floor, you want to first mobilize your hips, loosen the muscles of the hips before you start doing deep movements, right? Breathing is a good warm-up, but breathing is always combined with the movements, right? Kapalabhati, Bhastrika, all of these will improve your body temperature, right? Heat up your body. But when it comes to warm-up of physical in nature, the physical movements start with low intensity. For example, before doing any arm balance, a gentle wrist stretch is considered as a low intensity warm-up, right? Or before doing chakrasana, wheel pose, a shoulder tricep stretch can be considered as a low intensity warm-up, right? Now, this is where people lack the knowledge. People lack the skill of understanding the concept of arranging the posture, right? A Surya Namaskar is not a warm-up, right? Now, let me say that, tell you why. Because a Surya Namaskar is something already combined with many intensive postures. It only suits for someone who already lives a agile, mobile lifestyle. So if you like to walk, if you like to climb stairs, if you like to do physical stuff of your daily life, then Surya Namaskar is a suitable warm-up. Otherwise, a person with a back injury, a person with obesity, a person with a joint injury, then it can be a bit more challenging for the anatomy. So this is where the teacher need to be knowledgeable in anatomy to understand how do you define warm-ups. For some people, a warm-up can be applied dynamically. Some people, the warm-up can be only applied statically, which means dynamic. Static means movement and stillness. Now, I don't want to go in a lot of details, but I'm just going to give you a quick outline of what I have as an approach in yoga practice, right? Now, let's take a pose for an example. Can you give me a pose you would like me to cover? One pose. Any pose that anyone would like me to cover, so I can anatomically break it down. And Ustrasana. Okay. Ustrasana. Should we cover that? Okay. Ustrasana. What is the English name of the pose? No, one pose today. Not too many. I'm already. Okay. Paschimottanasana. Okay. One pose. Camel, camel. Okay. Can I go for Ustrasana? Back bending? Great. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. So, Ustrasana, where do you think the body is getting stretched in Ustrasana? What is the main area of your body you are stretching? When you do Ustrasana, where do you stretch? Upper body, back, okay, back, lower back, sacrum, okay, lumbar, shoulder, throat. Okay, great, that's good. So, how do you consider Ustrasana? Is it a strengthening pose or stretching pose? How do you consider? Ustrasana is a stretching pose or strengthening pose? You know the yin and yang, right? So you have to a pose is primarily of one movement. Either is it primarily strengthening or primarily stretching? Primarily, okay. There's two stretching and one strengthening. Okay, strengthening, stretching. Okay. Great. Now, there is no way to come to certain part of the body is stretching, certain part of the body is strengthening. But when you're doing camel pose, right, it depends how you approach the camel pose. Firstly, how do you approach it? Now, let me explain. Approach means the way you get into the pose. And how do you choose to hold it? While you are in the pose, what is the state of the body? It changes the outcome of the pose, right? And the other part is the overall experience of the pose only is defined by a counter pose. We call it the matrasana, the opposite movement, right? Could you please do the camel pose for me? I just want to make sure you are referring to this particular pose, camel pose. Yes. Raise the chest. Okay. Lift your chest and raise the chin. Ready? Great. Thank you very much. Relax. Okay, now Ms. Shilpa has been practicing this pose for at least 10 years. I would say, yeah, 10 years, right? So this camel is at least 10 years old camel, right? But usually when a person comes to yoga and when they are doing first time, they will start rolling back and they can barely reach the legs. They cannot reach the legs. They can barely touch it. Then the teachers say, hold the hips and arch. But if they can't touch the legs, where do you think they have tightness? If a person cannot hold the legs in the camel, where do you think the tightness is? What limits them? Ankle, shoulders, hip. Go for it. Hip, okay. Thighs, getting there, thighs and hips. So when you say hips, front hip, back side, where you are referring, front or back? Front or back? Where is the tightness? thoracic, back hip. So you think tightness here. Okay. Back hip. Okay. Someone said hip flexor. Good. So there is a muscle in front of our hips is called hip flexors. Now this is designed by an anatomy who are normally internally rotated hip when the foot is turned in as an anatomy. We Asians or Indians mostly are externally rotated hip anatomy. That's why we always see in our Indian tradition, people always stand with the legs open. In the Korean and Japanese culture, the legs are always slightly rolled in because their way of sitting is sitting on the knees, right? They are always sitting like this from their childhood age. Whereas in India, we always grow up sitting like this in a cross-legged position. So for a person who grew up sitting with the hips rolled in, they develop a tight hip flexure, and there is an anatomy they build called anteriorly tilted pelvis, right? For us, for our Indian culture of seated cross-legged movement, they develop an anatomy called posteriorly tilted pelvis, right? It is a natural design of your anatomy. But to answer your question, the tightness is mostly in the hip flexor area, which limits them how much they are able to keep the pelvis upright. Now, I'm not even talking about pelvis tilting back. Their anatomy is pelvis tilting forward, and they are not able to bring the pelvis upright. Upright means parallel to the floor. So they may start with the posture of backward bend with the pelvis tilting forward. Whereas in backward bend, you want the pelvis to tilt posteriorly, but for Ustrasana, you want the pelvis to remain straight, not tilt backward yet. So one person said you need more chest opening, flexibility here, right? So that is the next challenge of most people, because our life has become so computerized and also sitting in the cell phone sofa, you have a hyperketosis curve, which means your chest have actually curved in. Ustrasana requires a really big expansion and extension in the chest. So what I meant to now say is you need to know a person's lifestyle creates this limitation. We call it the limitation means anatomy designed as per their daily use of their body with a slight internal rotation in the hip and a tight hip flexors. And also partly a lifestyle designs the shoulder, upper back, hunchback that also limits their ability to expand the chest, extend the spine, right? So in terms of your practice of camel pose, the warm-ups that I recommend is, please do the lunge pose as a warm-up. This is one of the warm-ups, right? In terms of warm-up, the warm-up should be closely related to the final pose, anatomically related to the final pose, right? So in sun salutation, we have this warm-up, but let's assume that if you have tight hip flexors and if you don't warm up, naturally the stress to the lower back will be great when you do the camel pose. There is a chance of compressing the lower back too much in camel pose if the warm-ups are not properly done. This lunge pose is one of the warm-ups I recommend. Thank you. Second warm-up, one of the warm-ups we recommend is using the blocks. Because camel pose requires chest opening, so you can actually do the block stretch. We have this as yoga blocks, but then this can also help you to achieve good flexibility in your upper back. Because naturally, when people are tight on their chest, they are not able to lift the chest. There's lack of mobility in the chest. So the blocks, if people find it hard to use the blocks, they can use a bolster, a round pillow, something to help them achieve that range for them to practice the camel pose. Right? This is warm-up number 2. Please come out. Then warm-up number 3 is for the shoulders. Camel pose does a movement called shoulder hyperextension, where you bring the arms back and holding the ankle. You go this way, but shoulders are squeezing back, shoulder hyperextension. Can you sit on the back and do the shoulder stretch? Fingers pointing forward, bend the elbows. Yes. Now this is the warm-up for shoulders. This allows your arms to grab your heels or ankles as you begin to hyperextend your shoulders, because it really improves the range of your hyperextension. Relax. Now, in terms of backward bend, you cannot do backward bends to see progress with your backward bend, because if you do backward bend 2 or 3 times, your back already gets tired. Let's say you do a backward bend once, second time, people already feel soreness in the lower back. So the best way to prepare your backward bending pose is twisting, right? Any twisting poses can help release the tightness around the muscles of the spine, that you can achieve better mobility in your spine. Cat pose twisting. Now we have this pose called Parivrtta Yagarasana. So twisting, do the full twist, please. Yeah. Now, naturally, she has been doing yoga for some time. So she is doing her full range of movement, but please understand, not everyone can go back and touch the floor like this. And the other side. Okay, relax. That's it. So what I meant to say through the demonstration is, you have to individually target the muscles. A full pose is a complex anatomy of various movements combined. A warm-up should be simplified movements arranged one after the other that imitates the final pose you are actually trying, which means a camel pose requires your thighs to be stretched, your chest to expand, your shoulders to hyperextend. These are the 3 different anatomical movements. Now we have broken down as a warm-up steps for lunging. Then we did use the blocks as a fish pose, Matsyasana, and then we did the shoulder movement. Now, thank you. On another occasion, I hope I can share more information about the asana practice. But let me tell you, there is no one way of doing the asana. Every tradition, every teacher have their own way. I can tell you, if 100 people are here, at least 80 people will say, you know, I have been doing this, it works for my student. It's great. And that's the way it should be. What you see your students, how it works, and that's the way you should teach. All my request is learn to actually do this anatomically aware. Don't just push yourself into the final pose, injuring yourself or injuring the students in the process, because it not only brings bad name to our teaching and practice, it brings bad name to yoga itself. If you go to any chiropractors, physiotherapist, ortho, one of the common patients visiting them are yoga students who are getting injured in yoga classes. Neck injuries, shoulder injuries, wrist injuries, knee injuries, hamstring injuries are very common in yoga today. Even insurance companies are now selling insurance for people getting injured through yoga, right? So please understand, my intention is to give you some knowledge of what I have been practicing and teaching. And there is always more to learn, more to share. And if you would like to know more about how I teach and sequence my class, I can just give you my website. And I have been uploading. I don't recommend watching everything online and learn from the online classes. So this is the website for a yoga platform that we have been trying to put together to bring a very comprehensive information about yoga. So this website has details of poses. Poses are classified based on anatomical movements. And we also have video classes that can actually give you this approach of practice. I have hundreds of yoga classes there. You feel free to come and watch that videos, and I'm always there available online teaching live stream classes. It's there here. It's called yogafromtheheart.live, right? So it's called yoga from the heart.live, right? So please, because one person asked me, what books do I recommend? books are becoming very outdated. And I can tell you that people are relying more on YouTube. People are relying more on Facebook, Instagram, social media for improving their knowledge. I definitely don't recommend social media for your knowledge. Have a reliable resources that are run by professionals, experts of this field. And there are many, many resources you can find online, which backs by research, evidence, practice. And they are also supporting the traditional methods, but more applied to the modern lifestyle, right? So thank you for spending your time, and thank you for giving, your being open mind in this practice and the time you spend. So this is the website I was talking about, yogafromtheheart.live. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I'm in no rush. I can be here for another few minutes. I can answer your questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful and excellent section, sir. Now the session is open for a question and answers. Participants can raise their hand for the queries from Yoganand, sir. Participants.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Now, just to give you a quick, one more thing, when you are all yoga teachers, or we are all yoga teachers, and we should actually be more responsible in not only the development of yoga, but bringing awareness about the therapeutic benefits of yoga. And you can be a very successful yoga teacher if you apply science in your teaching, if you become more knowledgeable in anatomy, more knowledgeable in some of the common conditions yoga can address, and try and apply yoga as a practice in different areas, right? Don't expect a student to come to you. You have to find ways to reach people who lack this awareness. And we have platforms, like I was telling you before. If you wish to be part of our institution, of course, Mahar is a really great organization. They have been doing amazing job in bringing people together and getting them more knowledgeable in this. In another opportunity, I would like to give you more information about certain practices in yoga that can help not only improve your yoga knowledge, but also your practice. Thank you. Any questions? You are most welcome to ask. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
It's time to conclude our session with all the great inputs from our Dr. Yoganand, sir. Once again, I thanks for making this international online webinar on account of International Day of Yoga, making this great successful, sir. I also would like to thank our organizing committee from Faculty of Yoga Sciences and Therapy for giving me this opportunity to conduct this international webinar. Before ending the session, I request everyone to switch on the camera for the common photo. Also, the feedback link is shared on the.
Take a seat. They will take. Just sit. No need. They will take.
Okay.
Sorry for the delay, sir. Thank you all. Thank you so much. I call up the prayer team for the end prayer.
Request everyone to close their eyes and sit in any comfortable position. Let's start with the closing prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvi Navaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Asato Ma Sakhamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat.
I again thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I hope to participate in any event organized by the yoga institutions in India. And thank you very much again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It's a wonderful section. Thank you all participants. Kindly fill the feedback form. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you,
We'll
ma'am.
end the section.
Thank you, sir.